Okay, there's been some confusion recently about whether Donald Trump has or has not changed the parameters of his Muslim ban. We might hear more about that in his speech to the Republican National Convention on Thursday evening. But the chair of the RNC, Reince Priebus, is taking a sort of different approach, saying, listen, the proposed Muslim ban has no religious test that would be considered unconstitutional. Now, if you're a normal person, you might say, well, if we're talking about banning Muslims, which is a religion, it sort of sounds like a religious test. Here is Reince Priebus trying to explain it to CNN's Jake Tapper.
No, what Donald Trump, if you've seen the last few weeks, his position that he's put on the table in his position papers that are on his website, what he's been talking about is a temporary ban of immigration from countries that harbor and train terrorists until we get a better vetting system that is consistent with House bills and Senate bills. That's Donald Trump's position. There's no religious test on the table. It is simply limited to countries that are harboring and training terrorists, and that's really where 75% of the American people are at.
Sure,
which
but
is a good position to be in.
That proposal that you just enumerated is different than what he said in December,
Right.
and he has said that he has not backed off or changed his position.
No. He has pivoted to this position.
That's your interpretation. That's not his interpretation.
It's what I've seen him say in person.
I
at
agree that it
events.
seems like a pivot or a change, but
Right.
he says he hasn't changed.
He has said he has changed, and he has put the position on the table, and that is his position.
Right.
It is not a religious test.
This is so confusing. Trump first said we are banning Muslims from coming into the U.S. until we can figure out what the hell is going on. Then Trump did indicate a change, saying it is only Muslims from terror states, but it is still Muslims, which would absolutely be a religious test. But then when asked about the change, Trump's campaign team said there was no change. And then you have Reince Priebus saying, well, it is a change. It's not a change. Jake Tapper says it certainly sounds like one, but they deny there's been a change. But let's forget about all that. If we're talking about Muslims from countries that are training or harboring terrorists, that is by definition, Lewis, a religious test.
Yeah, and still something that would probably be impossible to implement, or at least unlikely that it would be implemented in the first place.
Right.
And I know that it's a great topic to discuss, and it really highlights just the absurdity of Donald Trump's platform.
But it's not going to happen.
Could it happen?
I don't think so. And it does, as Lewis suggests, really help to just illustrate the incoherence of this entire campaign. And there's another layer of incoherence now, which is that Donald Trump's running mate, Indiana Republican Governor Mike Pence, said the day after Trump first announced the Muslim ban that he was completely against it. And now he's running alongside Donald Trump. I think what we're coming to is words and the English language essentially no longer have meaning in the Republican Party. But if you've ever seen a Sarah Palin speech, you probably already knew that.
Yeah. Well, funny, because as dumb and incoherent and nonsensical as many of them can be,
yeah,
they also have won the battle of using words
in many ways,
political gain in many ways, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Pro-life, tax relief. We've talked about all of those, including with George Lakoff. GameFly is sort of like Netflix for video games. They have over 8,000 new and classic games for Xbox One, Xbox 360, PS4, PS3, Wii, and a bunch of other platforms. And you can play as many games as you want for one monthly fee. And if you find some games you want to keep, you can buy them for a low used price. There's never any due dates or late fees. And our audience can get a free 30-day trial at gameflyoffer.com/TDPS. The games are shipped directly to you with return envelopes included. There's no contracts, and you can rent games through the mobile app. Get the free 30-day trial for the David Pakman Show audience and support our show by going to gameflyoffer.com/TDPS.